Hi everyone, it's Bradu. Today I'm going to try something a little different. I'm doing a pastel sketch card. You can see it's pretty small. Might look big on your screen because you can't tell, but you know, just a sketch card, and I'm going to draw. This is a photograph that I took. I'm almost positive it's from Gustavus, Alaska, but not 100%. If it's not from Alaska, it's from Hawaii. I had another difference, right? Those are just the two places that I've traveled and got cool photos. So I've been super inspired lately to do pastel, kind of out of the blue. And yeah, I've just been digging that big time. I might be biting off more than I can chew here to try and do it as a video art cast and draw at the same time and talk and all that jazz. But I'm going to try it anyway. And we'll just see how it goes. I don't know what triggered this, but maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I'd call it an aha moment, where I thought I must have been laying in bed. I'm thinking, you know, I love pastel artwork, like how pastel artwork looks, more than probably any other kind of artwork. I always have. That's not new. And I was like, I'm laying there going, why in the world am I not drawing the type, or painting, I guess it's called painting. The distinction is if it covers the whole surface, the whole canvas or whatever. Oh, that's going to be trouble. So my camera is touching my shoulder. Tried to set it up somewhere where it won't get bumped, and yet this is how close I am. There's the camera. Inches, which means it's on my shoulder. Anyway, if the pastel covers the entire surface, then it's a painting. If it doesn't, and you have a lot of the paper showing through, then it's a drawing. This is also going to be tricky because I can't scoot over to where I want, to where I'm comfortable. This is the biggest problem I have with doing art casts and that type of thing. I don't like that cartoony sound, but it'll work as I blend it out. The biggest issue I have by far is I don't have a setup, right? Like, I decided, oh man, I'll call this my lunch break. I'm just going to do an art cast or whatever real quick on my lunch break. I say lunch break, but what it really means is that Ty's asleep. Maybe I should do a more vibrant orange. That's kind of a little bit brownish. Go for the crazy colors here. That's what I like about this photo anyway. But I don't have a setup, right? So I'm like, oh, I just put him down. I might get an hour nap out of him. So let's draw real quick, right? Or do an art cast again. I'm gonna keep saying draw. I haven't gotten used to that yet. That it's painting. So I plop myself down in the middle of the living room here and try and jimmy up my camera so that it's pointing at the drawing board, and it's just not that simple. I would like to have a workspace so that's where I go, and so that all that stuff's already set up. I go pretty dark with the water here, kind of how it is in the photo. So one thing I really need to say, or disclaimer about pastel, is I'm not proficient. I shouldn't say good. I'm not proficient at any of this stuff yet. at pastel. I love some pastel work that I see, but it doesn't mean that I'm confident or competent at it by any stretch. Having said that, I'm pretty happy with what I've been doing and that I'm learning quickly. Things like that. This sky is quite vibrant. I'm going to even play it up a little more, because usually you get like this, a real light blue sky. So it's kind of nice to see one with like a, with a really blue sky going on there. So we'll kind of go with that. That really blue. So I'm in a position where I shouldn't be doing this because I have a lot of sketch card set work and couple commissions that I should probably be doing instead. And yet this is what I want to do, and not just that this is what I want to do, but I've been, since I had that aha moment that I talked about, I've been more inspired with art. My wife has commented several times over the last couple of weeks too. Been more inspired than I ever have been. Either ever or at least in years. At least since like I first started doing sketch cards, or maybe even back to when I was in college. It's really weird. The other day we went camping. I had my first plein air experience. Plein air. It's like French or something. It's not quite as Americanized as plein air. Plein air. Basically means drawing or painting on location, like out in the wild. So we were camping, and I set up a little camping chair next to the water and drew for a couple hours. Had a blast. Had some frustrations, but mostly I felt pretty good and confident with what I was doing. I did three sketch cards and a 5x7, and I would say that my sketch cards I was quite happy with, and my 5x7 was a real stinker. And then the same thing happened the next day. I did some drawing or painting in the backyard at my father-in-law's house, my wife's dad and stepmom. And it was the same thing. I did a 5x7 and it sucked. And then I did a sketch card, and I was like, oh, cool, that turned out pretty nice. Let's see. I said I'm going to go real dark with the water, kind of how it is, but I'm not totally going to go dark. I'm going to add in some lighter parts too. The tricky part is going to be where that sun reflects, because I'm just hoping that when I kind of blend it in, it has that effect and doesn't muddy up too much. But I'm going to bring some lighter blues in there too, I think. And I really enjoy doing more than just blues in the water. Like whatever it is, and this is what I love about pastel, is whatever it is, using some of those colors that you just don't expect or don't see, or just see hints of. These areas could all kind of be, could bring some oranges and reds in there too, which I will. But anyway, so I found some phenomenal pastel painters online, and I've just been watching. Sorry about that. Watching videos like non-stop. I've just been having a blast with that. I don't want to over blend, but I'm also really tempted to go in and blend with my finger at least a little bit on kind of on the earlier layers here. I'm using a sanded paper, sanded Sennelier, don't know how to say it, pastel card. But the sanded papers with pastel are so nice because you can actually kind of blend like that and get away with layering a little bit. And I really love that. One of the first drawings I did a couple weeks ago, that's what I discovered. Like I was following Karen Margulis, is one of the pastel painters that I really enjoy. And I was following one of her demos and like drawing what she's drawing or painting what she's painting. And it was a real quick one. And I got to the very end and it felt like it was going good, and then she just put in, there was this like white river running through, and she just put in this white and it just went on like butter. This thick coat of white went right over the dark she had done underneath. And I went to do that. I was drawing on paper. And it didn't work. It didn't layer over like that at all. And I was like, oh no. What did I just do? I couldn't get the white to cover what I had already put in. And I was bummed. It didn't really matter. It still turned out okay. But I learned at that moment that the sanded papers work so much better than papers, pastel stuff. So anyway, let's see. So you can see I'm only a few minutes in. For me, I tend to work kind of slow and hesitant, especially as I'm learning. As I get more confident, I'm sure I'll pick up some speed. But it already looks, it's come together pretty well. I feel like I don't have the techniques down, but that's a pretty neat looking sunset already. And I feel like I have a lot more to do, but maybe not. Maybe this will be a nice short one. Let's see, do some of these little white clouds in here. And that's what I love about this. Is a good example of why I like pastel. You just start playing the colors in, and it just looks awesome. Though it's kind of hit and miss too. What I found, I feel like half the time it works and just falls into place perfectly. And the way I've been saying it is the other part of the time, like when I've done those couple 5x7s that I mentioned, that I felt like were stinkers. They have this effect that it looks like a fourth grader did it. And some fourth graders are pretty good artists, so don't get me wrong. But I think you know what I mean. It has this very amateurish look on some of them. Let's see. I think what I need to do more than anything is cut myself off and go in with some more purples here. I was going to say, go in with like a bit of a lighter orange up into these cloudy areas. Pastels blend so nice, just right on the surface. You don't, I said just a minute ago, you don't want to kind of overblend with your finger, but especially on these sanded papers, you can kind of blend it right in without touching it, just by the pastel sticks blending together. It's turning into a very purple sky. I like doing sketch cards in general. You guys know that already. I'm a sketch card guy. But with pastel, it really adds a different challenge because you can't really do these super fine marks. So you really have to simplify, and one of the notes that I took from listening to artists, Marla Baguetta, I'll get to her in a second, but one of her things is paint, don't draw when you're painting with. And again, how many times has that come up already? The distinction between painting and drawing. And I love that. But when you're talking about working this small, it's easy to think paint, don't draw if the whole thing was like the size of this, and you can do these big swooping painting motions and things like that, versus getting in there and drawing a line or whatever. It's definitely more difficult when you're talking about this tiny little size to not draw lines. Let's see, let's go to the edge here. Now I probably filled in a little too much of the tooth there. So we'll find out why that happens here. Another thing I need to learn or work on when it comes to my own pastel is, and this is, let's see, something I kind of keep hearing too. This is what I meant, going with like a little lighter orange to get some of those lighter colors coming through the clouds. Is this is kind of a Karen Margulis tip too, to use a limited palette, and I haven't started doing that yet. I got all my pastels out. I have a fairly limited selection and collection at Baseline anyway, but I just sort of try and find the color I'm looking for and grab whatever I can. I don't know if this is the right color I want, but I'll lay down a little bit of it and then grab a yellow or a more vibrant orange. This is a little bit of a pinkish orange. Actually, the other thing I could do is a darker orange. This is going to be red. It's going to be pretty bright. To get some of the, yeah, I kind of like that though. Just sort of suggest some of these wave things coming in, the lighter parts of the water. I'll get some darker darks in there too. I like to be a little more expressive with color. It's one of the things I like about pastels too. Now see, here's where, even with the sanded paper, I really want to get that sun to pop out. And I'll have to go white in the middle, I think, to do that. Yeah, let's see. It's alright. Anyway, I haven't figured out how to limit my palette. Meaning, like, go in ahead of time and pick out some colors I want to use. As I get better, more skilled, more confident, I'll be able to do that a little bit better. For right now, I seem to change my mind too many times to be able to do that. Let's see, this is really actually quite yellow and orange over here. And it's a darker orange right at the horizon line. So that's what you see. I do try and get a habit of, at least when I use a pastel, leaving it off to the side with the other group that I'm using so I can get back to it. Because you kind of want to, if you use a color, to bring in color bring harmony to your palette, you kind of want to use any color you use one place, at least a couple other places throughout the piece. That was kind of a raise, childish rays I was trying to get away from, and I just did them right back in. Oh, it happens. more orange or more red there. Is that too red? Let's go with it. You can just play with it. This is going to be a... That's kind of cool, I think. This is going to be a, 20-minute, half-hour piece. Oh, I guess I'm at 20 minutes already, so at least 20 minutes. Get some of these oranges in the reflection. Maybe I need to go more white or more yellow with those reflections. Because some of them are really bright. Part of that means I may need also to go back in with some of the darker ones. So I'm getting a little more precious than I want to be with some of that. Offline a little bit too, but that's okay. So going back to that harmony thing, let's bring in some of the purples from the sky into the water. It's a good way to get my darks in there too. This is where I run into trouble. I need a finer line, a finer point, and I'm not going to do it. It's one of the limitations I've got to kind of work with of using a pastel on a tiny little support. I've got to deal with that I'm not going to be able to get a lot of detail. I need to just suggest detail. So anyway, I consider myself very much a beginner at pastel. Don't be watching my video and thinking, oh, this is a tutorial on how to do pastels the right way, how to paint with pastels. But I'd rather have it be a little more like I guess maybe if you're enjoying pastels or interested and find it overwhelming to just go, oh, you know what, like this guy who is just kind of getting into pastels busted out this little card relatively quickly, and it looks pretty neat. So maybe I could learn to do that. So that's what I want you to get out of this, is not that I'm any kind of a master or anything. I mean, I wanted to talk about a lot more, but I think I'm almost done with that. I'm pretty close. I'm so far from it. I feel like I have so much to learn, but at the same time I can create something that I think looks pretty neat based on what I've already learned so far, and that is so exciting and promising to me. I'm already at the point where I probably should stop because I don't want to overwork too much, but like I said, I had some other things I wanted to chit-chat about. I think I'll leave it there. One thing I haven't figured out is how to go about signing these little sketch cards. Oh, I can look at my screen, give me an idea if I've goofed anywhere or need to do something different. I didn't use any greens. I don't really see any greens, so I think I'll just be okay with that without having any in there. Oh, there, I just lost my brightness. Whoops. Yeah, and it's pretty filled up now, the grit of the sandpaper, so that it's not going to hold much white at this point. But it's okay. This is one of those things where, I do this a lot, where if I didn't tell you, you might not even notice that. But since I just told, it's like I tattled on myself. I still want to do something to go back into those highlights I just drew in with the darker areas of the waves. I guess I should just stick to the colors I'm already using. Oh, I didn't. Did I use that one? Boy, it doesn't want to go on very nicely. It's dark though. It's the dark I'm looking for. But it's like gritty. It's like I need to sand it down. You hear that? You can probably hear how much it's. So I want to give a quick shout out to. So the artists I've really enjoyed with pastel, and I'll go into this more if I do any more pastel videos. Marla Baguetta, she's actually local, so I hope to at some point do like a, actually meet her or do one of her, what are they called? One of her workshops or whatever. She's phenomenal, and I really love her style too. It's not the stamp. They don't. Hers don't always look like realistic, accurate colors and all that. And that's what I love. She uses the bright colors and gets a little wilder with it. But she's really great. Karen Margulis has some of the best videos. So definitely check her out. She's got great tutorials, and she's a really good teacher. Well, they both are. And then Susan Moss Jenkins has the Facebook group Monet something. She's got a YouTube channel, and she's really good, and a really good teacher too. So what I was starting to say is I haven't figured out how to go about signing these. My signature sucks when I'm trying to do it in pastel. I'm going to use a pastel pencil. Maybe I'll use a yellow, see if it goes over the... Let's try this here. Yeah, see? As long as you can kind of recognize it as my signature, but I want to do something better than that. I was thinking about, because I'm doing this now, because I can sign my name on with a pen. I'm used to like multi-liners and pencils and ballpoint pens and stuff like that. I can sign my name, but with a pastel and these tiny little surfaces, it doesn't work. So I was thinking about developing a different signature, just doing Bradu, since I call myself that on my YouTube channel anyway. I might try that. Oh, that didn't work very well though, did it? Can't even really see it. It's a little better. Don't tell me when I did it. Signed it twice. Let's see. I'll probably come back to that later. Let's see if I can get a better angle. Oh, it's stuck to my... I got this super cheap Walmart easel over the weekend. But it works for, you know what I mean? Like, there's a $150 easel I could get when I get serious about this. For right now, I need something lightweight that I can set up on the fly. Alright, I guess I'm cool with that. Let me show you another one I did the other day. Real quick, because I just put it in a frame. Speaking of cheap supplies, Dollar Tree frame, I think. Anyway, I don't care. I like it. It's not going in a gallery. Maybe it will at some point. I like this one though. Another colorful sky. Try not to get too much glare. I don't care if the frame was $1, it still looks nice. I do want to take it out, and you might be able to see because it's so glary. See how you get like a double layer of glare? It's in a penny sleeve, like for trading cards, inside there, and I want to take it out of the penny sleeve. But I don't have any of that artist tape, so right now it's taped down with with regular tape, and I don't want to damage the actual art, so I figured I'll tape down the sleeve, and then when I get some artist tape, I will take it off. Anyway, I guess I'll call it good there. Less than a half hour for that. That's pretty cool. I'd like to go quicker, but at this point I'm more worried about, doing a nice job and that sort of thing. I'm looking at the screen. I got more purple than the photo, but I want that. I want the colors to be neato, vibrant. There's some things I don't like about the clouds, but they still read okay. And I could go more detailed and more accurate with the way the rays of the sun kind of shoot out. But I don't know. I want to get less carried away with the details and be okay with imperfections that give it a little bit of character. Alright, we're good. Thanks for watching. I'm Bradu.